As we continue to see surge in the hospital, we are moving more resources and more people into the hospital to try to address the care that our patients need there. And they're doing the same thing at Mercy One. So that's taking more nurses and staff and putting them directly in harm's way to take care of the patients that need to be taken care of.
He's the medical director at the Main Hospital in Waterloo, Iowa. They just had to build a second respiratory clinic at that facility because of the high volume of patients that are now surging into that hospital in acute respiratory need because they are COVID patients. With that unfolding in Black Hawk County, including now starting to lose healthcare staff as the patient numbers surge in the hospitals and the clinics, with the Sioux City, Iowa area also being another place in that state with one of the fastest growing outbreaks on the planet right now, with that problem they've got in Black Hawk County, with the problem they've got around Sioux City. Iowa Republican Governor Kay Reynolds this week is ordering businesses in Iowa to open up. And she has now threatened workers in the state of Iowa that if for some reason they are afraid of unsafe conditions at their workplace, if you're worried that the way your workplace is set up poses a risk of you getting infected on the job, well, tough. According to your governor, you have to go anyway. The governor is ordering businesses back open and going a step further, explicitly ordering that if you believe your workplace isn't safe and so you don't show up for work, she will zero out any unemployment benefits that you have been getting. Governor Pete Ricketts, also a Republican governor in Nebraska, is doing the same thing to working people in his state as well. But this is what's emerging as Republican Party policy or maybe strategy now that we've got over 60,000 Americans dead. The New York Times today reporting on a, quote, network of conservative leaders, donors, and organizations that has launched a legal onslaught against state and local restrictions intended to slow the spread of the coronavirus. The Times further reporting that these conservative groups mounting this effort have become, quote, emboldened in recent days by ever more explicit signs that U.S. Attorney General William Barr and the Justice Department may take their side to help them legally dismantle public health efforts to slow the virus and to limit the death toll. And they're doing this because well, this is what they're doing, because that's how the administration and the Republican Party and the conservative media are going to want to go down in history here. 60,000 Americans dead. Yeah, sounds like a good start. What else can we do? I mean, it's one thing if this had been their take from the outset, right? Before Americans started dying in huge numbers. Oh, we're going to legally challenge anything you do to try to slow this virus or slow the death toll from piling up. It would be one thing if they had sort of taken that stance from the very beginning, but they didn't take that stance from the beginning. This increasingly is their unified position now that this many Americans have died this quickly, now that we've outpaced by 4 months the date by which the favored White House model said we'd hit this many Americans dead. They said we maybe hit 61,000 Americans dead the first week in August. Well, it's still April, and here we are. So now is when they really want to put the screws to the doctors and the nurses in the hospitals. Let's see how high we can get the body count. Let's see how many people we can get infected all at the same time. It's just now's the time. It's just incredible to see, to live through this. It is hard to imagine what would be appropriate political accountability at the ballot box for people who are doing this at some point, but that's where we are. That's where the Republican Party is. That's where the conservative media is. That's where the administration is. And so the president issued this executive order late last night mandating the opening of meat processing plants across the country. Technically, despite the hype and the way they build it, he didn't really order meat plants to stay open. He basically just moved to block any state from being able to close a meat plant. But just think about this for one hot second. Why have meat plants been closing all over the place? And right? Why have meat plants been closing? It's not like it's been some blue state plot to make everybody a vegan or to make meat packing look bad. These plants have been closing in all of these different states all over the country for one very simple, very consistent reason. Because these facilities are in the elite, the very top rung of the places in America where the most people are being infected the most quickly by this virus. They have proved to be an incredibly efficient location for creating enormous outbreaks of coronavirus. and all of the subsequent hospitalizations and deaths that come from that. Earlier in the hour tonight, I called Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds K. Reynolds. I have no idea why I did that. I didn't even realize I said it wrong, but I apologize. It's Kim, not K. That said, I still maintain that her coronavirus policies in Iowa are cray, so maybe that's what happened.